Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today for today's webinar. My name is Dylan Fisher. I'll be taking you through the webinar today. Today's topic is faster and more efficient electrical bids with McCormick estimating software. So with that being said, I really want to use the time today to focus on automated features and shortcuts that really speed up the takeoff process and really make McCormick the fastest in takeoff. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started here and talk you through a few of these shortcuts and features. There is a spot in the webinar toolbar where you can type in questions. So I'll do my best to keep an eye on that, and I'll either address the questions as they come up, or I'll try to leave some time at the end to address them. But thanks again, all of you, for joining. Looks like we have some McCormick users and non-McCormick users in the webinar, so great to see that. To start here, I'm looking at the detail screen. This is the first step of McCormick, where we set up the job and add plans. So what I wanted to show is a feature called OCR scanning. So you'll see I added some sheets to the job here, and they all have these goofy names, which don't really help me too much when I'm in takeoff and I'm selecting sheets. So of course you have the option to rename these sheets manually. So it makes more sense to you as you're selecting sheets in takeoff using a drop down. I'm going to show you how to use the OCR scanning feature, which will rename the sheets for me. So you'll see that we do have PDF import options. We do recognize file names, formatting, thumbnails, so you can check these boxes to extract that. In this case, again, McCormick recognized the file names, but they're not helping me too much. So I'm going to go to this OCR scannings tab here, and then I'm just going to select one of these sheets here. And we're of course in a preview mode here. I'm gonna ask the system to rename this sheet for me, based on the information in this little box right here. So I'm just gonna hit this add button, and I'm just gonna highlight it. It's just like a highlighting tool. You click and drag, and then when I release that, it'll give me a preview. So it looks perfect right here. It gives me this is the file name I want. So before I hit apply, I'm going to copy this selection. I'm going to say, look at this section of each sheet that I have attached to this job, and rename each one of them for me. So I'm going to do copy. I'm going to do copy to selected. I'm only going to do this folder here. I could do all, but I'm just going to do everything in this folder, and I'm going to hit OK. And then we're going to go ahead and wait for that to go through the scanning process. But really nice shortcut here. Oftentimes you're getting, maybe 20, hundreds of sheets, and they've all got these goofy names on them. So this will save you a bunch of time here. Just allow McCormick to rename the sheets for you. So that's just taking a few seconds here. Almost done. All right, looks like it's complete, and let's just apply that and take a look. So check it out. Yeah, all of these names were, all of these sheets were renamed, and that's going to work out a lot better for me when I'm selecting sheets in takeoff. All right, so that's OCR scanning. I'm gonna go straight over to takeoff now. This is where we're gonna, spend all of our time together. One thing I wanted to start with is a feature on the estimating side of the program. Most of the features we're gonna talk about today are on the on-screen takeoff side of the program, but there is a feature here on the estimating side that can really speed up the takeoff process. It's a feature called workspaces. So this is the ability to open up multiple instances of the database at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and you just use these buttons up here to open up multiple database windows. Now, in the standard level McCormick, you can open up to 3 of these at one time. You do have access to the workspace feature. It does limit the amount of windows to 3, whereas in the Pro, it's unlimited. So I've seen guys fit up to 20 or 30 of these on one screen. You can resize them, you can line them up however you like. I'm dealing with 4 database windows here. They're all assemblies database windows. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna point each one of these windows to a specific area of the database. In this example job I'm in, I'm doing power takeoff for an office, and I'm gonna need several parts. So rather than finding one at a time, I'm gonna find them all now, and they're gonna all be displayed on this one screen. So let me set this up real quick. I'll point this window to some receptacles. Okay, I've got all my receptacle assemblies here. I'll point this window to some telephone outlets. Here's all my telephone outlet assemblies. And this window here, let's put some branch in here. Steel set screw with the strap, number 12 wire. Here's all my branch assemblies, and then I'll just put some boxes in here. All right, so of course this is my my workspace example. All of these assemblies are ready to be taken off. As soon as I select one of these, it's ready to go. I'll do a manual entry for now. I just typing in a quantity, but you can see how quickly I can get to all of these materials. I want 100 feet of that. Again, rather than finding, receptacles and then telephones and then branch, I have all the pieces sitting here ready to be taken off. We can utilize this with the on-screen takeoff as well. The same rule applies. As soon as I select a part, it's active and ready to be taken off. I'm either going to type in a quantity on my keyboard and hit enter if I don't have plans, or I'm going to go click on the drawing, which we'll be opening up the drawing here in a moment. But to take this a step further, this is something I can utilize on this job, but also on future jobs. Next time I do power takeoff for an office. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. It's a custom screen setup, and I want to use it at another time. So I'm going to just right-click on one of these buttons up here, and I'm going to name it Office Power. This is my Office Power workspace, and I'm going to right-click to snapshot it. So from this point forward, anytime I'm in takeoff, that workspace is just a button click away. Okay, it took me a moment to set it up, but from here on out, it's a button click away to open it up and do some real quick takeoffs. Now, I did use one of these blank buttons up here. You're not limited to those. A lot of our users will use those, reserve those for their ultra favorites. But there's a workspace button here. What this does is it opens up a workspace menu. So for many of our users, this menu might, in a lot of ways, replace the first menu I was using. The first menu I was using drives one database window at a time, whereas this is just a way to keep my workspaces organized. So these are all categories here. Within each category, each one of these buttons is just like the Office Power button I created. So this is unlimited. You can create as many categories as you want here on the left side, and then you can snapshot as many of these buttons as you like. So a really nice time-saving capability here. Not only can you use this feature for takeoff speed, you can also use it for building speed as well. For example, I have an example build panels workspace here. Okay, so what it did is it takes me, it's another snapshot. In this case, it's taken me right to my job database where I list my panel schedule. And then inside of all these windows are all the parts I typically use when I build panels. So obviously I can rename these panels if I want to, that's easy enough to do. But when I put this in add mode, when I'm ready to build it, I get transfer bars on all of these windows. And of course I could open up more, maybe I want an items database window open as well. So again, very nice time saver, again, used for not just takeoff speed, but it can be used as a shortcut for building as well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the drawing here. Now, of course, something that's highly recommended is a dual monitor setup. That will definitely speed up the process automatically. As many of you know, or I would imagine, McCormick's takeoff is built into the estimating. It's all in one. So that's already saving us time. There's no extra steps. There's no setup required. There's no pushing information from the takeoff on the drawing to the audit drill. It's all live. It's one program for estimating and takeoff. But if you have a separate monitor, then the plan will go full screen on the other monitor, and you're just picking parts from your estimating program and then clicking on the plan. Now, in this example plan I'm using here, it's power takeoff for an office. And guess what? I can utilize my workspace. All right, so we're gonna open that up. And then of course, as soon as I select one of these parts here, it becomes active on the plan. So I want this 20 amp duplex, it's active and ready to be taken off on the plan. So take off a couple of those. I want this telephone outlet with the 3/4 stub up. Again, it's active and ready to be taken off. All right, so I'm trying to kind of mimic the dual monitor setup here, but now I'm going to just place this on top of the estimating screen and kind of toggle between the two. All right, so again, utilizing a workspace, in takeoff is already helping. Let me show you a feature. Let me show you a feature called auto drops. So I'm going to go ahead and select this branch assembly here. It's a linear assembly, and I'm on the connected line setting. Now I'm gonna take off some of these home runs going to panel B. Now, if I select auto start and auto end, I can do one or the other, but I have both selected. What it's gonna do, it's gonna give me 8 feet automatically on each side for my verticals, for my drops. Now, what this override button does is it allows me to change the system default of 8 feet to whatever I want. So based on ceiling heights for this job, I want 10 feet. Now, of course, I can do different values for starts and ends. I'll do the same, 10 on each side. Here is wherever I click. So if I put like 8 here, what I can do is I can right click anywhere on a run. It'll give me 8 feet if I say, give me a drop here. So that's the difference between these three options here. All right, so again, I have my system default set to 10 feet, auto start, auto end. I'm gonna go ahead and take off for a couple runs here. All right, you'll see those vertical values are popping in for me. So we'll give you whatever vertical values you want automatically on either side of the run. Okay, that's our auto drop feature. While we're on the topic of linear takeoff, I would like to show the auto home run feature. So in this case, I'm drawing the home runs, not a big deal here. But now I'll show you how we can set up conditions for an auto home run. Now, I'm gonna start by selecting this endpoint marker here. It's just a marking tool. So it's like a highlighter. I'm gonna highlight panel A. It'll give me an option to name it. You can have multiple endpoints. So if that's the case, you definitely wanna name them. Okay, so now I have a home run destination to panel A. I'll go ahead and leave it at that for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of these home runs here. They're all going to panel A. I'm going to select a new piece of material here. Let's get back to one database window. And I just want, let's see here. I want 3 number 6 wires, 3/4 pipe. Just for fun, I'm going to change the color of this assembly, so it looks different than the other branch runs we did. All right, so I'm ready to take this off. And again, instead of me drawing them, all I have to do is point and click on the starting point. McCormick will draw the home run for me to the panel A, to the endpoint destination. Now, when you select this home run marker, it's ready to go. The assembly is active. I can go point and click, but you probably want to pay attention to the drops or the auto home run settings here. It's set to give me a direct run. I can toggle direct as the crow flies, some say. Orthogonal is squared off. I'll show you both ways. This is where we're taking it. I've only got the one place to go. If I had multiple endpoints, I could select which one I want to take it to. Now, I also have the auto drops turned on still, so I'll go ahead and keep those turned on. It's also going to give me whatever values I want, vertical values I want on either side automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and point and click here on the starting point. There you go, McCormick drew the home run for me. So now in a single click, I'm estimating these home runs. I'm getting, obviously the horizontal measurement and the vertical values on both sides, on either side, whatever values I want using the defaults here. Now I'll switch to orthogonal. Again, it's just a point and click. Now it's gonna give me a squared off home run. Okay, so that's all fine and well, but what if I want my home runs to follow a specific path, be that racks or tray or just to avoid certain obstacles? Well, we thought of that. That's what this home run, this home run routing path marker is for. So for this one, it's just it works the same as if you were doing a linear piece of takeoff. You're just drawing the path. This is the path I want my home runs to follow. The first click starts it. Every click after that changes the direction, and then it's a double click to finish it. We'll give you the option to name it. Again, you can have multiple endpoints and multiple paths. I'll just call this path 1. Okay, so now when I select my home run marker, it's just one extra option here. I've already got it set to give me a squared off home run to this endpoint. I'm adding now to follow this path. And once again, I'm just gonna go point and click. And now it's starting the run where I click, it's taking it to the path. It's following the path to the endpoint. Once again, it's giving me whatever vertical values I want on either side. That's our auto home run feature with the auto drops. Okay, next couple features I want to show you are in regards to these two screens on the right side, or windows, I should say. The first is the hot list. Now, this should always be on. If it's not, this is how you turn it on and off. It's just this little flame-looking thing. So this is my hot list. The hot list is automatic. McCormick builds this for you. All the parts I've used so far are in this list. As you can see, you can move it anywhere you want. You can resize it. But what this does is it allows me to reactivate any part I've already used. So what that means for me is I never have to find the same part more than once per job. Okay, if I take it off one time, if I found it once in my estimating program and I need it again, I can get it from here. And again, it's automatic, it stays with me for the job. So even if I open up a fresh sheet, maybe I have a floor 2 power, I'll be able to pull off of this hot list. In fact, I'll probably be able to pull most, if not all, the material right off of this list here. There are filtering options up here at the top, so I can say, just show me material. If we have multiple people working on this job, I can say, just show me my, the parts I've used. I can say, just show me a hot list for a specific sheet, because it'll grow, it'll get bigger as we go through it. So, and then there's other filtering options here, time of entry, part name, quantity, things like that. All right, so really handy. We had, when we released this feature, we had a lot of users asking us for a permanent hot list. And of course, McCormick is known for implementing user feedback, user suggestion. So this is a great example of that. The hot list is I just explained how it works. We build it for you. It stays with you for the job. Next time I start a new job, the hot list is empty. But what this is, the favorites list, it works the same way as the hot list in the sense that I can select parts from here rather than going to my estimating program. The difference is that I built this one. I called it my sample list, and probably a better name for it would be a short list. These are parts I use on pretty much every job. I don't have to find any of these parts in the estimating program. I can get them from here, from my favorites list. So similar to the workspace feature on the estimating side, this is unlimited for McCormick Pro users. For standard McCormick users, we put a limit of 3. You can have up to 3 of these lists. Now, let me just show you real quick how to build a favorites list. That's what this button's for here. This is what we call the favorites list manager. So you'll see I only have one. It's called my sample list, and it's turned on. I could turn it on and off like this. But let's just say I want to create a new favorites list. And remember, I just have to build this one time, and then it's available to me in every job. If I have several favorites lists listed here, job to job, I can turn on and off the ones I want to use. So we could open up several and line them up on the sides. But look, you just put the name in here. I'm going to call this new fave. That's the name of my favorites list. You'll see it opens up over here on the right. So then you need to close this. And now we're building the favorites list. Now, if you look at this example here, there's it's showing at the top the name of the favorites list. This is like what we call a header. So I'm able to break up the materials I'm adding to the list. I can break it up. You don't have to do that, but I did devices and branch here. I'll show you how to do that. So all you're going to do is right-click on this description here. Oh, sorry. Put the list into edit mode first. Just click on this box right here. So you'll see it turns yellow. So now we're going to right-click and we're going to add a header. So Now, of course, you can name the header whatever you want. Okay. Now, to put something in this underneath this header, then you just need to make sure you're selected on it. You have it selected here. To add parts to the list, it's very simple. All we have to do is select the part from the estimating program. So let's go to my list of devices here. So I want this duplex. I want this in my list. The assembly is selected here. All I've got to do now is right click. And again, if you want it under this header, just right click on that header and say add part. And you'll see it's now part of my hot list or my favorites list. So maybe I want to add a telephone with a 3/4 stub up. Again, make sure that you right click on this header. If you right click here, it's gonna it'll keep doing like subcategories. So just right click, add part. And I think there is a limit. I think you can have like up 20, maybe 20 or 30 parts in one list. Again, in the McCormick, you can have up to 3 of these favorites lists. Pro, it's unlimited. So between the workspace feature on the estimating side and these features on the on-screen takeoff side, lightning fast. All right, let's see. Let's close out of this. All right, the next feature I want to take you through is auto count. So let's go to a fresh sheet for this. All right, let me set a quick scale on the sheet. All right, the first step is to select the part. I'm gonna go ahead and pick a part from my new favorites list. I want this telephone outlet assembly. So that assembly is active, it's ready to be taken off. Instead of me clicking on each one of these black triangles, I'm going to switch to this auto count tab here. Now, this step here is optional. You don't have to do it. I do like to do it. It does help the system out. What I'm doing is I'm defining the search location. So the reason that helps is it's not going to bother scanning outside of that box. It won't scan over here or over here. Now, we do have the ability to scan multiple sheets. If you do want to scan multiple sheets, just click on the multiple sheets button. It'll give you a drop down so that you can select the sheets you want to scan. We do put a cap on that. We limit to up to 5 sheets at a time. We'll scan up to 5 sheets at a time. Okay, I'm just dealing with the one sheet. I'm now going to define my search criteria. So for that, I just need to draw a box around one of these symbols here. I want anything that looks like this. It'll give me a little preview up here in the ribbon. And just so you know, this refine button, what this does is it allows me to edit the snapshot. So I could like erase the wall and clean it up. You know, you do have that ability. I'm just going to leave it as is. When I hit the search button, the first thing we're going to do is auto calibrate. And here's what that means. We used to have to adjust this match rate percentage manually, just based on experience on how clean or messy the drawing looked. But now we calculate the optimal match rate percentage for you. You can still adjust it manually if you want to, but you know, really no need. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my list of results. You just click on this little, once it's done, it says, you know, it found 71 matches. You just click on this to open up your results list. You can put this on a different screen if you want to, and you can of course resize it too. But it's now my job to proofread the results list. So here's how, now you'll notice that we automatically organize the results list by match rate percentage. So we're doing a really good job of putting the most relevant results at the top of the list. I'm going to hit check all. Everything I see here I want. So everything that McCormick found, all 71 are at this time checked. Now, again, it's my job to proofread here. So I need to go through the list. As I get into the lower match rate percentages, you'll see it started picking up some things I don't want. Now, this is pretty cool. If you're not sure, maybe I'm not quite sure if I want this one or not. When you click on the image here in the results list, we'll show you where it's at on the drawing, so you can easily verify it. Okay, now obviously I don't want this. I'm going to uncheck it. I don't want anything past this. Now I could go down here and uncheck each one of these individually, but no need. Shortcuts all around. I'm going to right click on this last one I want, and I'm going to say uncheck everything below this. And there you have it. I've got 51 checked out of the 71. All right, so let me zoom out so you can see this happen. I'm going to go ahead and hit accept takeoff. Okay, and of course, McCormick just goes and marks them all for me as if I had clicked on them myself. All right, that's auto count. Let me show you this. So now I've shown you auto home runs, auto drops, auto count. We do have the ability to do an auto count with an auto home run at the same time. Now, I kind of missed my chance because I already did a count here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up the conditions for an auto home run, and then I'm going to ask McCormick to draw a home run for me from each of these outlets that are already taken off. So it'll do a home run from each one of these outlets to an endpoint. So let me set the conditions real quick for that endpoint marker. We want it, they're all going here. I'm going to skip the naming now, and I'm going to draw a path, and we're going to do it down the hallway. And I'm not going to name that either. All right, and then let's check out the drops here. So let's go ahead and say when McCormick's going to draw the home runs for me, but let's say we want at the start, at the outlet, we're going to want 8 feet there. And then at the end, at the control room, the panel, server, whatever it happens to be, we want an extra 5 feet at the end. So we're going to also get automatically 8 feet at the start, 5 feet at the end. So let me select a piece of material here. I'm just going to select a piece of cable in this example here. So let's go with Cat 5e. We're just going to go cable. All right, and we're going to run 2 cables per outlet. Okay, so let's that's the assembly I have selected. All right, so now, since again, I could have done this all at the same time, the auto count with the auto home run, but since I'm doing it after the fact, I need to select all of these outlets here. There's a couple ways to do that, but what I'll do is I'll just switch to select here, right click, and then I'm gonna say, let's see here, select matching. You'll see they kind of brighten up, it puts a little box around it. So they're all selected. So now when I right click, I'm interacting with all of them. I'm gonna say I want a orthogonal home run and I want you to follow that path. So now McCormick is drawing a home run for me, starting it at each outlet, giving me the 8 feet I want there. It's taking each run to the path, following the path to the endpoint, and then giving me the 5 feet I want at the end automatically. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I mean we're down to a couple minutes left here. I'm checking to see if we have any questions. So if there are any questions, please type them in. I haven't seen any pop up yet. But just to kind of wrap this up, just remember that once it's marked on the plan, it's estimated. Everything we've done on screen is recorded here in our audit trail. All right, so again, I haven't seen any questions pop up, but there is one more thing I thought of that I'd like to show you. So let's look at that, and then we'll wrap it up for today. So this feature I like to call auto assembly, and pretty unique feature. Yeah, I don't know of any other systems out there doing it, but let me show you how it works. Let's just say that this room here, let me get some takeoff in here. I'm just gonna put in a few outlets. Let's just say that this is a typical room. Okay, maybe it's a unit type or an office type, whatever the case may be. I've taken off one of them. I'm just gonna put a couple boxes in here, a little bit of branch just for fun. So this is my typical room, and I have many of these. So what we can do is we can turn this into an assembly. Okay, so the process is this: we need a place to put it, and so I'm going to use my job database. I'm just going to use a blank line here, and I'm going to call it, typical room 1. Okay. Now, of course, I could build typical room 1 on the estimating side as an here on the estimating side, I could put all the parts together, but there's no need. I've already taken one off. So I'm going to go to the plan here, and I'm going to switch to select. Oh, by the way, another shortcut is spacebar will toggle between takeoff and select. okay? Now I'm gonna draw a box around everything inside of this room here. You see it's all selected. When I right click, I'm gonna use this option to send selection to assembly, okay? Now it's gonna say, are you sure this is where you wanna send it? Typical room 1, yes, that's exactly where I wanna put it. I hit yes, and then this message is just saying that there's matching byproducts. So there's multiple assemblies that have the same item in it, and so when we build it, we can show that as a, we can show the same, like for example, we have the same box in the telephone and in the receptacle. When it builds it, it can show that as a separate line item in the assembly. Like, so, you need 5 for the telephones, you need 5 for the duplexes, or it can combine it into one line. So that's what this message is asking. I like to see it combined, and I check this box, so if there's others that are matching, it won't keep asking me. Just combine all matching parts. Okay, now check it out. Here's my typical room 1 assembly. I can take off as many of these as I want as an assembly now. And then the nice thing about doing it this way is, like, if you have typical, let's say you're doing an apartment job and there's this typical unit type or room type, whatever, there's 5 on floor 1, there's 10 on floor 2, maybe there's another building. This would allow me to place this in different areas very easily. So that's another really nice automated capability there. All right, I've gone a minute over here, covered quite a bit. Of course, if if there's anything more we can help you all out with, if you don't have McCormick, if you don't have the on-screen takeoff, please reach out. We can do a full online demonstration for you. Take you through the whole program, answer any questions you have. Of course, we just tackled a small slice of the program today, but really try to hit the highlights in terms of automated capabilities. So thank you all again for joining me today, and please feel free to give us a shout anytime.